Happy World Letter Writing Day. I'm Michelle Gullion, the Director of Collections and Research here at the National First Ladies Library, and we're celebrating the Writing a Letter Day. You can write a letter to anyone you want. It's a very personal way of letting someone know that you took the time to think about them and really express your thoughts. You can send a letter to someone you love, someone that you admire, a mentor. If you can't think of anyone that you would like to write, perhaps consider writing someone who's serving overseas in the military in our country. You can look up operationwearehere.com, and that can get you started on where you might want to write a letter to someone who's serving in the military. And so let's get started now with a very cool letter that we have in our collection. The letter we have that I'm going to share with you today is it was written by Louisa Catherine Adams. Louisa was born February 12th, 1775 in London, England. Her father was from the United States, and he married a British woman while he was working there in London. So she grew up in London, and she went to school in France. So she was quite European in her upbringing. However, when she and John Quincy got married, she went back to the United States, and she lived the rest of her life here in this country. Louisa was a very amazing woman. She was very talented, not only in handwriting and writing letters, but she was also a wonderful, she wrote a lot of her own plays, that type of thing. She was a beautiful musician. Not only could she sing, but she played the harp, and she'd play lots of other instruments. She was just a lovely, lovely person. She was a lot of fun. One of the things I like to do is I like to read books about her because she's just kind of funny. She gets depressed at times, and she eats chocolate shells when she's depressed. So I think a lot of us can relate to that. And she also loved to entertain. And that's one of the things that she was actually most famous for. She was actually really good friends with Dolly Madison. They palled around together. They liked to play cards together. They played Lou a lot together. She's not as famous for her hostess and her parties as Dolly, but she really should be, because she gave a wonderful party and people loved to go to her parties. She gave a very famous, lavish ball in 1824 in honor of Andrew Jackson, who was the hero of New Orleans. And he was also the political opponent of her husband, John Quincy, that year, going to be running for president. So she thought this would be a good way to have this lavish ball and give all this acclaim to Andrew Jackson, who is the hero of our nation, and make John Quincy look good as a presidential hopeful. It didn't work out that way. The two became, they were on opposite ends, both seeking the candidacy, and of course John Quincy ran and won. However, there was a lot of things that were going on. It was kind of an intense time. Let's turn to this letter, though. It's a really wonderful letter. When we purchased it, this is the envelope it came in. It's this little teeny tiny envelope, and on it it says, "To Mrs. Jessup from Mrs. J.Q. Adams, thanking her for chandelier she borrowed for a party." It's believed that this letter was written to Mrs. Jessup because she was thanking her for borrowing this chandelier during this very wonderful party in 1824. I'm going to read the letter to you now. "Permit me, my dear madam, to express my regret at not seeing you last evening, and at the same time my sense of your great kindness in promoting the success of my party. Had you not assisted in throwing such a brilliant light upon my company, my reputation as a hostess would have been terribly obscured, and I certainly should have failed in throwing as much light on my friend as the occasion so particularly required. Could the light of talent, of faithful and undeviating service to the nation illuminate our country, Mr. Henry's long and arduous career would produce the effect without the aid of artificial luster, and I cannot look back to a former period of his life when my husband and Mr. Clay were associated in goodwill and effectual service to this nation without gratitude for the past and hope for the future. I shall take the earliest opportunity to call and to offer the thanks in person of L.C. Adams. So who was Mrs. Jessup? She was the wife of Thomas Sidney Jessup, and he was the Quartermaster General of the United States Army. He was appointed by President James Monroe as Quartermaster General with the rank of Brigadier General, and he held that position for 42 years. He married Anne Herone Jessup, and this letter, we believe, was written to her. We don't know that much about her. She was born October 20th, 1797, and she died April 24th, 1845. And she had 8 children. So she was quite busy, not only with raising children, but she actually let people borrow her chandeliers too. All right, thank you so much. Be sure and write a beautiful letter thanking someone for whatever they do, their service, or that you're thinking about them, love, whatever, compassion, whatever you want to do. Write a letter to someone and let them know how much you care. Thank you.